Well again. Okay, we are live, loud, baby, and in color. Let me make sure I got my device charging, and I do. All right, I am waiting. Oh, let me get rid of this pinned comment for Corrina to request to go live. Let's see what's happening. What's up, y'all? Everybody calm down. All right, I want everybody to just be calm, take a breath, and let me see. Requests. There she goes. Accept. Send invite. Let's see if the beautiful Corrina joins us. And
What's up, handsome?
There you are.
Cheers, handsome.
Hold on one second. Now, you are, okay, you're there, but I can barely hear you. Let me grab some headphones and put headphones on. Hold on one second.
Okay. Teddy, don't you come in here. Y'all know Teddy, my doggy. Andreas. How's everyone doing?
Okay, I can hear you loud and clear now.
All right.
You can
Teddy,
hear me okay?
hi. Teddy, say hi to everyone. This is Teddy. We call him Teddy Bear. He won't be in here long, though.
I love it. I love it. I want to make sure everybody can hear us and see us okay, make sure we're good to go. You guys give me some feedback to make sure you can see, you can hear. Corrina, you're like freezing a little bit. Are you on Wi-Fi?
Am I what?
You're freezing a little bit.
Hold on, let me check my Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Turn off the Bluetooth. Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So we have lots to discuss.
Yeah.
A lot of people have questions about so many things. So let's just have, I think we should just have sort of an honest conversation. And let me just set the stage real fast for those people who are tuned in and people who are watching. So this is not a session where we need to bash anyone. This is not a session where we want to put anybody down. Clearly, a lot has transpired over the last several months. And this is an opportunity to have a really open, honest conversation. And also, a lot of people, what I feel like, don't understand the way business works. So this is a great opportunity to juxtapose a lot of the things that Corrina has done against how business works so that we understand why all this stuff has happened. All right. So I think a great place to start, Corrina, is for you to talk about the beginning, right? Where you came from, why you began in the business, how that all originated, what was the conversation about, what was to be understood, and just bring us into like that phase of what happened.
Right. So let me just see here with the comments because they're distracting. I'm going to swipe. How do I?
Okay. I think that's good. Just swipe them away.
Hold on, y'all. Bear with me, y'all.
Told you. You don't need no comments. I told you no comments.
But you know what? They're not going away when I swipe.
They're not.
So
when you swipe them away, I swipe mine to the right.
They're just in my way.
Okay, or try to ignore them, I guess.
Because it's kind of like a distraction.
Yeah,
but
it is. It can be.
So let's see. So why don't we talk about? Let's just say we'll start with. You want to talk about the food trucks, or you want to just talk about the seasoning business?
Yeah, bring us from the food trucks into the seasoning. Yeah.
Okay. So I started years ago. My stepfather was a chef, and I before let me just go back to originally I was in corporate America and I was selling IBM mid-range computers. My mom and my stepdad went into the restaurant business. He was a very famous chef, executive chef, just lots of awards, just an amazing chef. They went into the restaurant business, and they needed some help. So I joined, I was kind of tired of corporate America. I was doing really well, but I came and I joined them. So kind of the restaurant. Then from that, I went, so I really did not like the restaurant business that much. You can relate to this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was just like a lot of work, tireless, just, morning to night. It was a fun challenge, but the thing is that for me, I just didn't I like to have more freedom. Mm-hmm. And you know how it is, you kind of tied down to it. And really it's not that you work more than, you don't make as much money as the work that you do. So right. Anyway, from that, I kind of got into the concession business. And then in the concession business, I did that for a while, and that was great. And then I got my food trucks. So I started building my food trucks probably about 5 years ago. So I have multiple food trucks. I've got 2 brands, Love It Side and then Sophisticated. So I have 2 of each. And someone's saying it's blurry. So
that's you, but we can hear you just fine. Keep going.
I wonder if it's my camera. Hold on, y'all. Is that better?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I'm good.
We hear you just fine.
Yep. So anyway, food truck business. Been doing that for about 5 years. Built the food trucks from scratch, designed them, did the layout, all of that stuff. It's a lot to it, but I'm not going to get into all.
So wait, let's just make sure we understand that you were in the food truck business apart from
right.
The food trucks with Carmen. Got it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So those trucks were part of my, concession business, which is a different company, Edelweiss Concessions. And that was something that the reason I did the food trucks really was because I had a lot of requests for catering, and, I just wanted to kind of move into more of the concessions is not to me as how do you say it? I don't want to say legitimate, but it's more of a seasonal, you're not really, it's just, I wanted to move
something that's going to be all year round.
Yeah. And and I wanted to have be able to have staff members that I wanted to be able to build a team of people that were on payroll all the time, that I didn't, I didn't they didn't have to have other jobs. They could just work for me full time. So
yeah. So the concession, it was kind of seasonal.
Yeah, it was kind of seasonal. I mean, it was good money and all that stuff, but it really just went from, and it was kind of nice because, November to February I was off, but I always felt like it never felt like a real business, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so, and also it was a lot of work. So the food trucks allowed me to start doing a lot of corporate events, which I couldn't do before. I couldn't do all the corporate events. I couldn't, and I couldn't just have a set schedule. It was just a lot better. So I started doing that. I had 1 truck, then I built a 2nd truck. Then I realized if I had 2 of each brand, I could send them to different places. And so then I also wanted to create 2 different concepts. So I created a 2nd concept, and that's how the food truck business started. And like I said, I've been doing that. That's been kind of an extension of my concession business, and I was doing that.
So let me make sure I got this straight. So your concession business was a separate business from what Carmen was doing.
Yeah, Carmen had her own concession business.
All right, bring us into the merge.
Yeah, we met because she had an accident, and she needed some help getting back on her feet and stuff like that. So we met at Piedmont Park many years ago. And then she asked me to help her, get things situated, get back on her feet. And so that's how we kind of that's how I started helping her with the concession business. And then a couple of years ago. So you have any more questions about that?
No. So concessions were good, but walk us from concessions into seasoning.
Right. Okay. So that's what I was going to say.
Yep.
So a couple years ago, we, I'm doing my thing, and we really had stopped really. How do I say this? We had kind of lost communication for a couple years, and so Ashley had actually reached out to me and just said, hey, can you come? I want to try to see if you can maybe refer a business coach, or if you can help. Anyway, Ashley got in touch with me, and Carmen and I started.
So that we know, so that we're clear, who was Ashley?
Ashley is Carmen's daughter.
Got it. Okay,
so
cool.
She called me, and she was just like, hey, because so here's the other part. Ashley also helped me with the food truck business. She worked for me for about a year running trucks. Okay. And so then when I changed commissaries and it was kind of too far for her to drive, she started helping her mom with the seasonings and doing some other stuff. And so she just called me for some help. All right. Let's leave it at that. She called me for some help. I came and, Carmen and I started talking about the business, and one thing just I invested in the business, as everyone knows. I mean, a lot of this stuff is now public knowledge. I mean,
wait, so just back up 1 second. So yeah. I think what's unclear is you invested in the business, but was that a decision did Carmen ask you, or did you see an opportunity? Like, at what point what was the deciding factor?
I don't know. I think it was kind of mutual, because we were talking about it, and, I was helping with stuff at first. And then she and I, we're like, man, we always work so good together. Why don't we, why don't you come in and, you can put in some money, and be a partner. So it was.
So how long were you helping out, or in what, just how long? How long were you helping out before there was a conversation that says, this feels good, let's keep going?
It was like a couple of months. I think it was like a couple of months that before I actually became an official, investor or partner in the business. And so once we kind of made the agreement and everything, we had an operating agreement drawn up. We hired a business attorney and had the papers drawn up and stuff like that. And when I want to say, actually that we had agreed on the partnership, but then we hadn't set a time. So I was just kind of helping. Yeah. And then we actually did it a couple months later. And then
take a pause right there.
Yeah.
When we did the whole live stream, it was me, Kerwin, Carmen. You were in the background. People don't know you were there. You were at my house. What point in the timeline was that? Because I remember you asking a lot of pointed questions about like Shopify and shipping easy and labels and boxes and all that.
Yeah. By then, when we started working, by then I was already, we were already 50-50 partners. Because what happened was, after like a few months, and after I really got to see, what we needed to do and how much work it was going to be to really bring this business to kind of where it needed to go. You know what I mean? Because to me, like, it just needed a lot, and so I was just like, you know what, Carmen, I'm going to have to do a lot of work. And and I was just like, and I'm going to be doing quite a bit. And so to kind of, to bring this business to where it needs to go. And we were trying to get it out of, a home-based business to like having its own facility, and all that stuff. And so, and then we also had to rebuild the social media page because it had got deleted, and it was just a lot. And I also knew that, if I was going to be doing all this, my food truck business, which fortunately I had already spent a lot of time setting up all the systems and having my team in place, and they kind of knew what to do. So I was just like, okay, this is a pretty good time, but I know that I'm not going to be able to really grow the food truck business while I'm trying to grow this business. You know what I mean? Because you know how it is to
Yes,
grow a brand,
yes,
grow a business.
yes,
It
yes.
takes a lot. And, you know, when I started looking at everything that needed to be done, I was just like, this is a big undertaking. So I just said, you know what? If I'm going to be if I'm going to be working this business, you know, full time and giving it what it needs, then I'm not willing to do that for 25%. You know, I'm like,
So let me ask you this. So when you saw the outlook, right, and you saw how much work needed to be done, or you saw the deficiencies and where your strengths or areas of opportunity could come in and make things well, um, were you and Carmen both on the same page in terms of what that outlook and that
yeah,
work looked like?
were. And, you know, we used to get along really well.
Mm.
And so we were definitely on the same page. We made our plan together. We figured out what it was going to take and how much work we're going to have to do. I mean, we did her first, we just the undertaking of the cookbook was a big thing. You know, it was the first real cookbook, you know, that we put out, and it took a lot, and just rebuilding the page, you know, and then just in the seasonings business was there were a lot of things that needed to be done. I mean, a lot. I was working, you know, we were both working 10, 12-hour days, and it was great because, like I said, she was here because she was staying in our basement for a while, um, you know, before she got her own place or whatever. And so we were working hand in hand and working a lot. And
That's good
so,
to know because so many people make the point of how can you just come in and steal a business, right? And I'm like, you know, to that end, I'm like, who stole the business? Like, if there were deficiencies and you are a partner with the strengths that the business needs, how do you just steal a business? And to the same degree in which people say you stole the business is the same degree in which Carmen signed the operating agreement. You know
of
what I mean?
course,
So it's like, how do you say you stole?
so that's always been kind of nonsense. And that's why I really haven't spent that much time and energy trying to explain it or trying to justify it or trying to, you know, provide answers. You know, I wrote that one statement
Mm-hmm.
just to up. But, you know, there's always still going to be those people out there that don't understand basic business that are going to, you know, that you just, you know, it's just only so much time and energy I'm willing to spend on that. But basically, you know, the situation is when I saw what needed to be done and I explained it to Carmen and she agreed, you know, we made an agreement. We're just like, you know, let's just do this thing together, be 50-50. I was like, or I can remain 25% and I can be a silent partner. I'm like, you know, I can be a silent partner and, you know, do a little bit and keep working on my business, or we can just be 50-50 and we can do this thing, you know, together. And we both agreed that my value, that what I was bringing to the table, did not warrant me to have to I didn't need to put in any more money because I was putting in what you call sweat equity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm the one that's putting in that sweat equity. I don't need to put in any additional money. And for me to be able to run all the stuff and do all the stuff, you know, behind the scenes, I did you know, that had a very high value. That was valued more than money. And it allowed Carmen to, you know, to focus on the cooking and the marketing. She didn't really have to do that much. I mean, I
Right.
took care of everything. Now, there's a big value in that. And it's not just, you know, so if someone says, well, she got an extra 25%, but she didn't put in any more money, what I put in was worth way more than another $100,000. You know, and that's the reason why.
Wait, hold on. What you put in was made way more than what? What was it you just
Well,
said?
I was just saying, then another $100,000. That's all I was saying.
So what is that $100,000 valuation? What is that? Is that what you put
I
into the business?
normally, let me just
Yeah.
say this. Normally, I don't like to. I don't. I'm very private person, and I don't really like to disclose a lot of information about like money and numbers and all that stuff. Unfortunately, though, some of this information was already out there because of the law. So that's the only reason why I threw out that number, because everyone already knows, you know, that for the original 25%, there was X amount of dollars, you know, that I put in. And I was just, and some people were saying, well, why didn't you put in that same amount to get the other 25%? And I was just saying, here's the reason why.
And that's why I wanted, but that's why I doubled back, because I think it's important for people to understand that not only was there an initial financial investment, but there is substantial sweat equity that was also invested in the business to get it to a point where you felt it, well, both of y'all felt it should be.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And so that's kind of how we got into that business. I mean, that's how I got into the seasonings business. And that was about, it's been about 2 years. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you first said, okay, I can come on board, I see potential, I see value there.
Yeah.
In your mind, what was the vision for where this business could go? Because I think it's important to understand what value you brought, but also what vision you brought as well.
Yeah. Well, my vision was, you know, just to, it's the same vision I have now, is, you know, to bring it into other places besides just what do you call it, like social media, or what's that called, Darius?
Well, I know there's some distribution.
Commerce.
Right.
You know, so I was thinking of other things, you know, that can be done with the business, like grocery stores and, you know, Walmart.com and different things like that.
So for you saw a much bigger picture than where it was.
I think we both had the same vision. We both did. You know, we both talked about, you know, what we're going to do. And so but you were asking about my vision, so I'll speak for myself. So that's what I saw for the business. I thought that, you know, I was just like, hey, this could really be big if you really make good decisions and you know, run things, you know, if you grow it in the right manner and you make good decisions and you set up good systems and you run it like a real business, you know what I mean? And you set it up like a real business with real employees and a real warehouse and, you know, and just like, you know, building a brand. And so that was my vision, you know, was to turn it into, you know, a very big enterprise.
Okay. So
I kind of put all my time and energy into it, and I put a lot of time and energy into it.
Perfectly understood. Big business, beautiful ideas, growing, all this stuff, thriving.
Yeah.
So everything's going great, right? You're building.
By the way, if you weren't such a successful chef and entrepreneur with e-commerce, you should be an interviewer.
I told you I would lead you down the right path. I told you that, right? I did. I promise you that. So, okay. So everything's going great. You're going well. Everything's going beautiful. You guys are thriving. Something is happening
thriving, but growing and
growing
the right direction. Going in the right direction.
So you're moving everything in the right direction.
Yes.
Something happened. Something is happening.
I wouldn't call this, Darius, I wouldn't call it a thriving business. I would say that it has a potential to be a thriving business. And that's what I saw. I saw the potential. All right. It wasn't there yet. And I knew I could look at it and see what it was going to take to get there. Right. And it's not even close to there yet. But I'm just saying that I saw the potential. All right.
Sure.
So I don't want
you saw the potential.
Thriving business yet.
Let's make sure we understand. You saw the potential, communicated that to Carmen. Did she also agree with the same?
Oh, yeah. I think, well, I'm trying to just kind of, because Carmen and I are where we are right now, I'm trying to not speak for her too much, you know, just speak for me.
Yeah, but as long as we understand that this is not something where you see it and you haven't communicated it to your business partner,
right,
and she doesn't see it. I just want to make sure we establish a base point that you're all on the same page.
Absolutely. We both saw it, and we both made a business plan based on that potential. And we both became 50-50 business partners based on that potential. You know what I mean? Like everything, like, it's kind of like, first it was 25% and we were kind of moving along. And then we realized that this could be bigger, but how much was it going to take? And how much of that was I going to have to do? You know, and that's when we reevaluated it and said, okay, this is fair, this is how it needs to be, 50-50, because otherwise, you know, I would be feeling like, she even said this, she was like, you know, I want to be fair. So it's like I would have been feeling cheated otherwise, because then I would have been doing 75% of the work for 25% of the profits. And I'm not willing to do that, because you know, I mean, I didn't get to where I am, you know, by making bad business decisions, or by being, you know, by not being, you know, smart about business.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
so
I
I'd rather,
completely got it.
I could just do nothing, just be a silent partner and build my food truck business, or stay home and relax.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So everything's going in the direction that you think it should go. You guys are agreeing on things. At some point, something is starting to slow the train down, eventually derail the train. Bring us into what is happening that is now slowing this train down.
Slowing it down. That's a trick question, Darius. So,
and it's open-ended for a reason, so you can decide what you want to share. Okay.
Right. But so I think so. You know, so let me just say this. As we're, you know, building the business and going along and everything, keep in mind that Carmen is here at my house, at our house. And this is where we're cooking, you know, and this is where she's also residing.
A quick pause. Why is Carmen at your house?
Carmen and her ex-wife, you know, split up, and Carmen was out of the house. She was, you know, that, like, from one day to the next, basically. And so, you know, for her, you know, that was a very, you know, she was pretty distraught, and, you know, it was tough. I mean, it would be for anyone. Mm-hmm. And so Cherie and I were just like, hey, you know, you stay here, you know, and then kind of get yourself situated. And of course, she also, you know, you got you one too. So,
mm-hmm.
So like it kind of works out good. You know, you can sleep in the basement. We have a whole bedroom, a whole, you know, everything down in the basement, game room, exercise room, bedroom, bar, all that stuff. And so she was here cooking in the kitchen, and I'm sure a lot of y'all remember that. We made we made all our videos here. We did the cookbook here. We did the cooking show here. Like everything.
I cooked with you there, with her there. Yes, yeah. Yes.
You were one of the probably only invited guests here, because I'm very private with my house. But you were here, and we just had, you know, we did a lot of work here. It was like my office is here, the kitchen is here, and it was great. But, you know, it was temporary, because obviously I have a family, I have 2 children, I have a spouse, you know, and this wasn't something this was a short-term situation, and we knew that. And it worked okay for a little while, but, you know, it was in the summer too. And sometimes the kids would be like, why can't we go in the kitchen? You know, and I'd be like, we're filming, you know, we're doing this. So, you know, we obviously knew that, you know, so then that's when we kind of got to the house part, you know, and we were trying to look for a warehouse over here. And because, I mean, I'm already here. Mm-hmm. So then the next smart, so I was like, you know, we need to get this business out of a home and into like a real facility. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's the next step. Like, if we're not going to do that, then it's never going to be a real business. And there was a lot of other stuff, trust me, but I'm just talking about the house now. So
let me ask you this question about the house. Was there an initial understanding of a time limit, or was there supposed to be a plan made? So this was all communicated.
This is not new information, but, you know, so I'll just quickly just talk about the house. We're looking for rental houses at first. my realtor, who's also my neighbor, was helping. Every time, like, you know, something was found, it was like it would be gone like this, and it was just all this stuff. So, you know, she was just like, hey, why don't you buy? You don't know that I helped with all of that. I'm not going to go into all
So
the.
no, wait. No. Not into that house. I'm talking about your
Oh,
house. Was it, yeah, what, before we get there, because we're going there. But was there an initial conversation about how long she would
Oh, no,
stay in the basement?
it wasn't, because it was just kind of like, there wasn't I don't remember there being an initial conversation. I think it was just kind of like I was just helping out a friend, and it was kind of not only of helping her out, but it also helped us out in the sense that we were together. You know, the business was also being run from here in terms of my office was here and the kitchen was here. So it kind of worked out, you know, kind of well. But I think it was probably I think it was maybe for about 4 or 5 months, 5 or 6 months, something like that. I mean, you know, like I said, my family is very, you know, very welcoming, and they're very understanding, and they're very, you know, compassionate and giving. And so, you know, but after, like I said, after a while, you know, it was just kind of time to go to the next phase, because, you know, like I said, the kids a lot of times would get annoyed with different things because they couldn't go in the kitchen, or they, you know, they had to be quiet, and even she, you know, she would have
So how is this making you feel, right?
film or be involved in anything social media. And she was working from home too, so we set her up an office in the basement. But it was kind of, you know, it was good for a little while, but then it was time to move on.
So how is this making you feel, right? Because I kind of feel like you're straddling a fence of like helping a friend, but
uh,
also trying to increase the business. So talk about like what you were feeling in this moment.
in which moment?
The
During.
moment where you like a summary of all of it, where you have to go from something needs to change, something has to happen, we have to grow, we have to shift, but I've also got to be diplomatic and balance both relationships, family relationships, and now friendship and business relationships.
Right. So Ashley just texted me. She said she sent you a request to come on. Can you
Okay,
look?
we'll bring her. I don't know if I can bring her on with you, but we can certainly. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have a request from her, and I don't even know if I can get a request with her and you at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. On Instagram, I can, but I don't think Facebook will let you do it.
Okay, let me just see. Hold on. Let me see something.
Go ahead. I'll hold my question. She's got us on hold, y'all. She's responding to a text message. And I see all of your beautiful comments, and I don't care. I am no stranger to negativity. So if you're over here to be negative, the beehive is going to get you. All right. If you're over here to be negative, the boss lady supporters are going to get you. Thank you. I don't think she, she don't know how to do Facebook. She's supposed to be on her other device texting back. Okay, she's supposed to be on her iPad. She's
So
supposed to be
there,
on this phone. There you go.
I
Hey,
was just texting. Oh, sorry.
we
I was
know
just
what you. We
texting.
know.
Ashley wants to come on. She has something she wants to say. So, well, how can we do that?
So, do you want to? First of all, I don't even know if I can bring Ashley on because I don't follow her. So, what would have to happen is that Ashley would have to request me, and then go from there. Or if she would like, I could FaceTime her on another device, and then people would be able to hear her on the other device.
So, what's the best way?
I think so that we don't mess up the connection. I think the best way would be for us to, for me to
Okay.
FaceTime her.
Okay.
So I'm texting you. I just text you to send me her number, and then I'll FaceTime her. I hope she has an iPhone.
She does.
Good. Got
Sorry,
it. All right, cool. So
guys.
FaceTime. I'm FaceTiming. I don't want to show the phone yet because her number is here.
Think, really wanted to say something.
Yeah, no, I want to bring her on, but I don't know if how to connect her here. So if she answers me, she's like, "Who is this calling me?" She don't even know who I am.
No, I told her you were getting ready to
FaceTime. Okay, there she goes.
Hey, Darius, how you doing?
Good. I can't see you.
Oh, you're not supposed to. I told boss lady the bonnet is on.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, everybody can hear you. No one can see you.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Hey, everyone.
They all said hey. What'd you want to add to the conversation?
Oh, so I was just telling Corrina because I thought on Facebook, like I see where 3 and 4 people are on the same time. So I just kind of wanted to come on and give some support. Because I know you have questions. People have questions.
Wait, maybe I can add you. I just don't know. You said you sent me a request?
I did. Well, let me send it again. Hold on.
Yeah, send me a request real fast, and let's see if I can bring you on. I didn't know it worked that way.
I resent it.
I see nothing, Ashley. It says request, sent stars, and then it says audience. It does not. Okay. It does not give me the option to bring you on.
Okay. I mean, well, that's okay. I mean, it's we can do it like this. I just wanted to, just show some support to Corrina. I'm someone that has been behind the scenes with her, and have had to, just live through some of the things people are saying on the internet. That's not true. And Corrina's, she's I can see that, she's being really careful with the way that, she's answering questions. So I just kind of wanted to show some support to her and help her out. And because we want to answer questions, but we just want to do so tastefully. We don't want to like you said, we don't want to bash anybody or make anybody feel bad. But at the same time, she has a right to defend her name, like clear her name.
So what do you? Because I'm being strategic about how I'm bringing her through the timeline. So up until the point before Carmen leaves the house, what did you want to add on to that conversation?
Up until the point before she left Corrina?
Yes, before she left Corrina, because she's in the basement with Corrina. She's going through the divorce. At what point? That's where we are now. So I'm bringing people into how did Corrina feel about having to balance both friendship and business along with her own family and responsibility? Because no doubt that's a huge task. So that's where we are in the timeline. So we're from the beginning up until that point. Did you want to add anything to that?
The only thing I would add to that I feel like a lot of people online don't see is it's kind of, I feel like, that's ignored, like when you look at the traits, of a real friend. And I remember the reason she did it, because she wanted my mom to have a nice kitchen to cook in because, she's coming from her ex-wife's home and she was used to cooking in that kitchen. It was a big chef's kitchen. And so, Corrina thought of it like, man, I want you to have, somewhere nice to stay, and I want you to have a nice kitchen to cook in so you can continue your business, so you can continue to grow it. And I just want to just draw attention to that point that, this isn't somebody who you just, talk crap about online and say things like, she's a snake, she was never a real friend. Like, I can attest that, she was a real friend. So I just wanted to add, some balance to it. Definitely not here to bash my mom. I don't want to say anything negative about her, but at the same time, my personality, I'm a truth teller. Look, and I have to keep it real as to, what actually happened. So when we talk about these things, the foundation of it has to be true.
Right.
It has to be the truth. If my mom was wrong, if Corrina's wrong on anything, it has to be called out.
Right.
And Corrina was the first to admit that, there were some times that I acted immaturely. I still remember that conversation, Corrina, me, you, and my mom at the Starbucks. when, you know, she was able to own up and admit, you know what, I didn't handle that right. You know, and that's all that I ask for, you know, as we're resolving issues, is that we set the foundation of truth. So that's what I would add up to that point, Darius.
Got it.
Is her moving in, you know, pointing out that, you know, that's what true friends do. You know, they help you in hard times. You're going through your divorce. You still need to run your business. She was there.
Right. See, and that's the thing I wanted to outline as well, which is what I was getting to with Corrina, is how did you feel about all that? Because no doubt it has to be challenging saying, hey, I'm in the middle, right? I've got an investment I need to protect. I've got a friend I need to help. And I have a whole family and spouse and household that I'm responsible for, right? So what is going through your mind, Corrina, trying to balance all of this stuff out? Like, how are you processing all this and making these decisions?
Like I said, it wasn't that bad, because I talked to my family about it ahead of time and told them that, you know, there was a need and this was what I wanted to do, and that it was going to be temporary. I mean, they were kind of asking me like,
hey, Darius, I can't hear Corrina.
I know you can't hear her because you know what? Hold on, Corrina. She's in my ear. That's why you can't hear her. So I don't know if you have another device you can look at while she's talking.
It's just a delay.
It's a delay. So I tell you what, I'll drop you off for now. And when you're ready to add context to that, you text me and then I'll bring you back.
Why don't
okay, sounds good.
Get your iPad.
She said it's a delay. It's a delay.
Oh.
So let me just text her, send message. Text me when you're ready for me to call you back. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Forgot what I was saying. Just
you were telling me how you're feeling, trying to balance both.
It was fine. It wasn't that bad because, like I said, I talked to my family in advance, and we all had an agreement that it was going to be okay and that it was going to be temporary. And I think, you know, after a few months, they were kind of ready. You know, they were just like, okay, like when are y'all going to be, you know, when is Carmen going to get her own place? And, you know, so that's when we were just like, okay, I was like, okay, let's just try to start looking.
Okay, so get your own, what is the plan here on what own place is supposed to look like?
Yeah, she was just, we're looking at rentals. She was looking to rent something. So I found a realtor. I just went in my neighborhood and I was just like, hey, who's a realtor that can help? And that's when Mary came along and she was like, I can help you find a rental property. But y'all remember the market back then, it was, I mean, like something would go on the market today and tomorrow it will be rented. So that's what it was like. And it was, yeah. So anyway, so, you know, the goal was to try to find something for her, to try to find something that had, you know, a nice kitchen. Obviously it wasn't going to be, you know, like my kitchen. Cause I mean, you know, this is you know, we got 2 islands. It's a pretty big kitchen, big house, but just a nice kitchen, similar, you know what I mean? Like it didn't necessarily have to have everything, but just have a nice kitchen that you know, we could do the cooking show and it could be a nice presentation and look good.
How deep do you want to go into how that went south?
I think we don't need to go into it. I mean, everyone kind of knows that, you know, the situation with the house, and it was definitely, there was a lot of, I was very, very disappointed, you know, and hurt about things that happened with the recording of the realtor and the video that was made about me after I did all that stuff. But, you know, it happened, and I also wrote some things, you know, that I'm not proud of. And, you know, when after Carmen made that video, I was really shocked and upset, just really shocked, because I wasn't expecting that. But the thing is that with the house, you know, everyone already knows that you know, that Carmen needed some help, and we made an agreement. I got the house, the mortgage in my name. I loaned her the down payment. I added her name to the deed, which I didn't have to do. I did that to, you know, to just make sure she was protected in case anything ever happened to me. Because the bottom line is that, you know, she was, it was the purpose of it was that it was going to end up being her house, that in 12 months she was going to take over she was going to refinance it, get the mortgage, and it was going to be hers. And so from my perspective, I was just doing something to help a friend. And, I had people telling me not to do it.
Yeah, that's a big responsibility for a friend.
A big deal. And I did it, really just out of the goodness of my heart. And I also felt like it was a good thing for the business. And I just wanted, I was just like, hey, I just want, her to have something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to go into it too much.
No, I get it. I just think it's important. No. Let me say this, Corrina. Let me help you. I think it's important for people to understand that you did things that you did not have to do for the sake of two things: friendship and business, right? And I own businesses.
It backfired. And
oh, yeah, absolutely. I've done things as well.
So I learned my lesson. Like I said, I did something. It backfired. I had people in my family and some of my friends, I talked to a few people before I did it. And, and I did have people who said, don't do it. And I was just like, well, I'm going to do it. Cherie was on board with it. And so I just, and so then, in 12 months, it was supposed to, she was supposed to take, refinance it and do that. And then that didn't happen. And I mean, y'all know the rest. It's
right.
not
We
really,
do.
I don't need to cash all the stuff. I just wanted to, it didn't work out.
I think what you did was phenomenal. I think it is important to outline. I don't know if I could be that kind of a friend, but kudos to you for doing that. So would you say what else contributed to the train slowing?
I want to make sure that this is clear. I did pay the down payment on the house, but it was paid back. All right. So it's not like I gave, the down, it was a loan and she did pay it back.
All right. So let's make sure we understand that. Let's make sure we really hear that out. The down payment on the house had to be paid. Corrina paid it with the agreement that Carmen would then reimburse her, and she did eventually pay her back.
Yes, she did.
Got it. Was there anything else that contributed to the train slowing down or getting off the rails?
Well, I'm not, so that's what happened with the house. You mean like when, obviously, 6 months ago. Yeah, I don't know, Darius.
That's why. So I left it open-ended.
Okay, look, I have an idea.
You can go as deep as you want to go. You decide.
Yeah, give me a second.
Take as much time as you need. Okay, so she put us on hold. My job here is to not take her too fast, not take her too deep, allow her to go as fast as she wants to go. Do we know the story? Yes. Have we heard it from her point of view? We have not, right? So this is an opportunity for her to be in a space where she can clear her name, say what she wants to say, do what she wants to do, all right? And now Ashley wants to go back on. So I'm going to FaceTime Ashley again while Carmen has us on hold so you can hear from Ashley. Okay, you hold on. I know you have me on hold, so you hold on 1 second. Ashley wants to come back on. Hold on, Ashley.
You know why she has to come back on? Because I just told her to just come back on for a minute because I just need to take a breather and think because
do what you got to do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Do what you got to do. And what I just told them was my job here is not to take you too fast, not to go too deep. You go at your own pace, and I'm going to make sure people fully understand where your heart is. But you take a breather, and Ashley, you got the floor.
Hey, okay. So I just want to be real with everyone that's watching. This is nerve-wracking, okay? Mm-hmm. It's nerve-wracking because, you don't want to say the wrong thing. And but at the same time, I feel like everybody, has been allowed to kind of speak their mind on the situation. And like I said before, we don't want to bash anybody, but at the same time, negative things have been said about Corrina, negative things have been said about myself. So we do want to clear our names, but we're trying to be careful. So it's like I'm watching and I'm like, ooh. So just the question that you were, can you reword repeat the question that you were asking her?
Absolutely. So where I am is the people want to understand where the train fell off the rails, right? Because right now you've got Corrina in, she's helping, you've got Carmen, you guys are building, you got a warehouse, you're standardizing, everything's going in the right direction. But at some point, something happened, right? So we can, first of all, we can fully say as a fact that the living situation contributed to the train being slowed down, right? So now my question is there anything else that contributed to the train being slowed down?
So when you say the living situation slowed the train, do you mean
her in the basement at Corrina's house while she's got a full family and kids who are wondering when they'll have their house back to themselves, right? Which is where the idea came from to get the other house that Carmen could then move into, right? So that's one scenario. The other scenario, and I don't mind saying it, I'll say it, is the personal choices that Carmen made in terms of a relationship. Was that a contributing factor to the train being slowed down?
Yes, I would say that's a slippery slope because there's a misconception that because she got in a relationship that's when stuff kind of went off the rails, and it's been said that me and Corrina didn't want her in a relationship, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Okay.
We only wanted business and personal to be separated. When I spoke with my mom's significant other, I stressed it and made it clear to her because I'm the type of person, like I got to get all my feelings on the table.
Yep.
And I feel like I can't build on like a cracked up foundation. And so the foundation has to be true. So if I don't like you, if I have an issue with you, if I have questions, I gotta get it out. So, but I want to make sure that I'm respectful at the same time, and that I'm tactful with the things I say, because I can be a little brutally honest, but I did make it clear that no one is against your relationship. Mom, I'm not saying that you can't be with anyone. It's just that when you involve your significant other in the business, it can start to negatively impact things.
So let me just ask you a question so I can clear this up. Initially, how was Tay involved in the business that made you and Corrina go, wait a minute, stop, something's not right here?
Well, one of the things, and I wanna make sure I'm clear that so her significant other, I don't feel comfortable, putting her name out.
That's fine. We will say significant other. That's fine. I'm good with that.
Right. So I will say that one of the issues was because her page was being promoted, and all the followers from Chef Carmen ATL were also on her page. The conflict is when we share the same followers, if you go live, we're taking away viewership from that page in which you share the followers with. So at one point there was a business event where she went live. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she didn't know. I'm not blaming her, but when she went live, it took about, and you can ask Corrina, and it was a good amount of people on there, but it took what could have been all on Chef Carmen's live. It kind of split that viewership. So that's a way where she affects the business, because she's getting monetized for an event that the business paid for that she didn't pay for, and the viewers are split. So that was one way in which she affected the business. Like I said, it's nerve-wracking. I'm trying to
I hear you. Use your words carefully, and if I hear that it's going a different direction, I'll pull you back. So you're good.
And I see, and I want to address this too, Darius, because I'm seeing in the comments they're saying, oh, it's your mom, it's your mom, how can you do this to your mom? And I saw those same, I get those same comments and messages sometimes. And, what I'll say to people who live by the mother-daughter code, which is like, I'll never say anything negative about my mom. I'll never do this to my mom. That's your prerogative.
Right.
If you won't tell the truth about your mother, that's your life. I don't think it's right to judge someone who wants to be honest in all things. So I'm not exposing her. So like, say if she did something wrong, something illegal, I'm not going live saying, ooh, Chef Carmen exposed.
Right.
But this is a situation that I'm involved in. And if I see wrong being done, whether you are a mother, a father, a cousin, I'm going to stand on the truth. I just need to watch how I do it, because it does need to be done in a respectful, a tasteful way. But it's difficult for me to stand by and watch somebody be lied on, and for people not to be honest. It is very difficult to stand by and watch that happen. So if it's coming from your mother, now for people who saying they would never do that to their mom, I respect your decision to not do that, but you are not the judge on what is right and what is wrong as far as that goes. So if you choose to not do that, but somebody chooses to say, hey, well, you know what? I don't mind speaking the truth. If my mom was wrong, I don't mind saying it out loud, and I don't mind helping someone if they are a victim of my mother. I would expect that same respect, because just like, you're saying that you wouldn't tell the truth about your mom, I can point out some flaws in that.
Right.
I can point out how that actually wouldn't help your mom at all.
Right.
But I just rather not. I would rather you have the freedom to choose whether you want to do that or not.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So but like I said, in telling the truth, it still has to be done in a tasteless way, because I understand that is my mom. And with Corrina, we've had conversations. If Corrina does something wrong, I'm going to tell her.
Right.
I'm going to tell Corrina that was wrong. It's just that with Corrina, she tends to take accountability, so there's really not a lot.
Right. Which is the mature thing to do. So okay, so I get that. So you guys are basically saying that the living situation was past expiration, number one, and then make sure I get this. Number two, it is when Carmen starts doing things that inadvertently or subconsciously takes away the gusto or the momentum for the business, that becomes an issue. Okay. Was there a conversation had with her about these particular actions and what the result is now causing?
Yes.
Okay.
There were conversations.
Quite a few.
I think. Let me be careful.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. So there were conversations, because, like I said, it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut. Like, if I feel like a way about something, I'm going to be honest about it. I will say that in those conversations where Corrina and I both expressed ourselves, we could not come to a conclusion with her. So the end was left. It was just left untied, and that's what caused a lot of issues, because we just all couldn't get on the same page. So there were about I don't know, maybe a couple conversations had with her, and we constantly beat into her. It's not personal. It's just business. So Corrina's.
But why does she think it was personal? If you have to beat into her that it wasn't personal, what is making her think that it's personal?
You know what? I'm sorry. I actually worded that wrong. I don't know why I even said it like that. I meant to say that we beat into her to keep personal separate from business. Is that why there was a Chef Carmen and Tay page created?
So can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Wait, Ashley, hold on 1 second. I can hear you, Corrina. Ashley can't hear you.
Ask Ashley if she can get another.
No, but even if she did get another device, it's delayed, right? So you and I are talking real time. She and I are talking real time. If she tunes
I
into the other device, it'll be
can add
delayed.
her to this, so I'll just wait for her to finish then. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, Ashley. That was my question. Is that why the Chef and Tay page was created?
Yeah, because that was an attempt to keep personal separate from business. And I even even with trying to be encouraging after that business meeting when we agreed, I encouraged my mom and said, thank you. It's good that we're doing it this way. I always tried to reassure her that it's not about who you're with. Nobody cares about that. We're not trying to get you to break up with her. It's just that nobody else's significant other is involved in the business. So Corrina's partner, she's not involved. She's not on camera. She's not on the lives. She's not building a page using our followers and then going live at the same time. Brandon's the same. My husband the same way. No one significant other is involved. And so we just wanted to know, hey, can you do that same thing?
Right.
If all three can keep our personal, then the business can continue to run smoothly and drama free.
So let me ask you this question. Wait, hold on. Corrina wants to interject. Go ahead, Corrina, because you can hear. But Ashley, you can't hear her. Go ahead, Corrina.
Okay. As I saw a comment, and I've seen this before, where people say, you had a relationship, why can't she have a relationship? And all because you fell in love and stuff like that. And I get really tired of hearing that, because quite frankly, business and relationships are two separate things. It has nothing to do, relationship has nothing to do with this. There are very specific things that occurred, okay, that became a problem for the business. And that's where I had to step in, because I could see everything. And I mean, the thing is I'm not going to bring out all the text messages and all the stuff, but I'm just going to say this, that I saw all this happening before it even happened. I could see what was happening. And so for me, see, when Carmen and I, when we were on the cruise, we made some agreements about what she was going to do with her relationship, because, and I'll go back to that later, but what happened was, this was at the beginning of the relationship, and I brought her some information, okay, that she didn't know. All right. And so that was a big deal. It was and I may or may not get into that. I haven't decided yet. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna talk about that or not.
Okay.
But
all right. So you brought her some information
no.
she didn't know.
Let me just say this. Yeah. So at that time, I had a friendship with someone that meant a lot. And so I saw a new person come into her life, that she pretty much told me, this is the one, I know it, I'm going to marry this person. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty fast. She must be really special. Are you sure you want to move this fast? Yes, I do. In the meantime, Tammy, our admin, she sent me information. All right. She sent me
negative information, might we say.
Sent me stuff that this person had, that there were over 10 aliases. There was, if you did a Google search, the name came up on a porn site. There was these photos, that she sent me, intimate photos of her, of her with another person, person that introduced them. All right. And so my thing is when I was getting all this information, I was just like, wow, what is going on? And so I was just I just wasn't sure what to think, you know what I mean? And I was concerned, because I was just like, I hope this is a good person, that Carmen is about to, get herself really involved with. So one of the reasons why I invited her to go on a cruise, because I really wanted to have a heart-to-heart with her and show her some of the stuff that I had, and just say, hey, did you know about this? And so, I just said, hey, how did you meet? And how does Kim and how do they know each other? And she's like, oh, they just been friends all these years. And I'm like, are you sure? Because here's some photos. And she was just like, she didn't know. that they had dated, like, and so she didn't know, and so it was kind of like for me, and she didn't know about the aliases and stuff, and so she was just like, you know, like her thing was as well, if I find out that's, you know, the case, then, you know, I'm going to, you know, pretty much I'm gonna be done or whatever.
Right.
So she, you know, she went and she found out, and you know, she was pretty upset and stuff. So the thing is that
So let me ask you this.
but I
Once hold on, Corrina, 1 second. Corrina, 1 second. Once you had the conversation with Carmen about the things that you knew, was there any other discussion about what would happen moving forward?
you know, like, you know, she was just like, you know, she was kind of done. She was really upset. She was hurt. She was shocked. You know, she didn't know
Was it genuine?
that.
Do you think it was genuine upset?
Yeah, it was. And but the thing is that later that, so then, you know, I think I don't want to go into too much of, I'm trying to think of how much detail I want to go into with this.
That's why I asked the open-ended question. I'm letting you decide.
Business part of it. I'm just telling you from on the personal side, that was a red flag for me, and it was a red flag for Carmen. But you know, they were able to work it out. Like I got a text when we were on the ship. Tracy Mitchell sent me a text. Well, first she tried to call, then she sent a text, and she was like, you know, Carmen's significant other is on the way to the hospital. She's having an anxiety attack, you know, and stuff like that. And so, of course, they started talking again, and Carmen came to me, you know, the next day, and she was like, you know what, I've decided that I'm going to, you know, move on with I want to still, you know, I changed my mind, basically. So I was just like, well, that's fine. If that's really what you want to do, I said, but, you know, as a friend, now, you know, I'm talking as a friend. So I'm just like, just be careful, you know, because I didn't want anything to happen. You know, I didn't want Carmen to be taken advantage of or anything. But if, you know, she's a grown person, and if that's what she wants, I just said, look, if this is what's going to happen, if this is what you want to do, a couple things need to happen. We need to get, she needs to sign a prenup for the house, and, you know, personally, because now, you know, the house is in my name. So a prenup, an agreement for the business, and a background check.
So,
you know,
wait. Let me ask you this question before you go any further. Let me just ask you this question about mindset. Some people would want to know that, okay, all this information is given. You found out the information. You tell Carmen the information. People want to know, why did you care so much about what you had determined?
Well, why did I care so much?
Yep.
Well, it's not that I cared so much.
Okay.
It was actually kind of a surprise, and I was just like, oh my God, it's like, is she going to be taken advantage of? Like, what's going to happen? Like, who is this person? You know, I was kind of concerned. But to be honest with you, once she told me, so at first it was kind of like, she was like, if I find out that that's true, then I'm done. And then she changed her mind, and she was like, you know what? I changed my mind. It was explained to me. You know, she thought that Kim told me, and this and that. So I was just like, cool. Then I felt like at this point, then, you know, we just need to, if that's what you're going to do, then, you know, at least you want to make sure that because whenever, to me, like, if you see something, if something starts off, you know, anything, and it's like a relationship, it could be business, it could be personal, but if there's deception, okay, and if there's like Ashley was saying about being honest, if there's lies being told, if there's deception, then it's kind of like, for me, I'm just like, well, then let's just make sure that there's nothing else, right? Nothing big, like, you know, murderer type stuff or anything like that.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. You're finding all this information out. You're telling Carmen this information. She initially said, okay, we're done, but then she comes back and changes her mind.
I got to say something else.
Yeah,
My initial thought too was that I was just like, oh my God, was this some kind of a setup? You know what I mean? Like why, you know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't anybody tell Carmen that they dated, right? But then I'm gonna be honest. So for me, not I'm gonna be honest, but I'm just saying that was my initial thought, and and that was my initial concern. But then I was just like, well, maybe Carmen did know. So once I asked her and I found out she didn't, obviously I was more concerned. But
So I do want to ask you a question about this.
I want to say this, that, huh?
I do want to ask you a question about this.
That's fine. So the thing is that, when I got with Kim, and I hung out with Kim because I wanted to know, because I was just like,
And this is at the ball game, yes?
I felt comfortable after that. She explained to me, like, that it was just like it wasn't anything like that. And then also she told me that she told Carmen. So I was good, I was good with that, with the explanation that I got. My only concern after that was really just about, I don't want to say my only concern, because I was still concerned for Carmen, but she pretty much told me that, this is what she wanted to do. And so, we agreed to do the background check, and to do the prenup, and to do the, to sign off on stuff. And so, those things, I did initiate the background check to check things. And
but wait, stop. You initiated the background check, but was there an agreement between you and Carmen about the background check?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's what
I want to make sure people understand, because the word on the curb is that you did it behind the back.
I know that is, but that's not what happened, and It doesn't even matter at this point, because what happened. But so yeah, so we did that. So after that, I was really concerned, but Carmen wasn't. And so here's the thing, is at some point, if someone says that, and that's what I want to address, once Carmen is an adult, so once she decided that this is what she wanted to do, and this was her choice, then, I respected that. I mean, I didn't have a problem with that. The other important aspect of this was that we also agreed, because I'm a little flustered, because I don't really want to talk. Don't want to go into too much detail, but then I also want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the information. But the other thing is the background check, the prenup, the operating, the signing off on the business agreement, and that she would not be involved in the business. Mm-hmm. Okay.
The significant other.
Yes. Because we had talked about, the pattern of, of having people in the lives and stuff like that, and, I was just saying that, it seems like one of the issues that I could kind of see, I don't know if I saw it before I was starting to see it, just like a lot of negativity and a lot of arguing on the lives. And just a lot going on, you know what I mean? And so that affects the business, and
so, can I ask my question? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Knowing what you knew about Carmen's significant other, right?
Yeah.
If Carmen had not had her significant other on the live streams, right? Nobody knew she was there. Maybe there was a slight knowledge that she was seeing somebody, but she was nowhere to be found. She wasn't interrupting live streams. It wasn't being publicized. But you knew what you knew behind the scenes. Would that have been an issue? Ashley said nope immediately. What do you say?
Say that again now.
Okay. If I'm going to say her name, but y'all won't let me. If Carmen's significant other, knowing what you knew about her, all the things that you knew, that the checkered past and all that, if Carmen had decided to limit or keep her off of the social media, would you have been okay with Carmen still seeing her?
Oh, of course. Of course. I don't control, I don't have anything to do with who Carmen dates.
See, and that's what I want people to understand, because people are making the assumption that you and Ashley want to control Carmen's life.
No, not at all.
There you go.
So the thing is for me, you know, my only concern all the time was like, once the cruise ended and once I brought the concerns to Carmen and she made her decision, then that was it. You know, that was her decision, and that was her relationship and her decision. So I shifted my concern. I mean, I was still concerned, but it wasn't like, it was kind of like, you can be concerned, but if someone says, this is what I'm gonna do, then you have to shift your time and your energy to other things.
So
you know,
basically you respected that.
Absolutely.
Ashley, what about you? Hold on, let's get Ashley's opinion. What about you, Ashley?
Yeah, well, the only thing I'll say is, and I'll say what I said. I'm not gonna say my mom's response, but my concern was a marriage contract. You know, I just suggested, hey, you know, like, why don't you guys just like be together? You know, it doesn't have to be a marriage, because I don't want it to be a situation which is typical today. You know how high divorce rates are, where you lose, you know, your assets, you know, because you got goals. You know, you wanna own your home. You know, you're saving money. You know, she's doing so well, and I wanted to protect that for her. I felt like COVID was such a blessing for this business. I mean, it was, and I'm pretty sure, you know, she's probably told you about it, but when COVID hit, I mean, this was such a success. So it felt like,
listen, I get it. Ashley, I get it. My business too, right?
Yes.
We're in very similar lifestyle home businesses, like people that cook at home and do stuff. I get it. Trust me.
Yes, and those seasoning racks at the store, they was emptied and they were hitting us up. So it felt like it felt like she got a second chance at life. So I want to see her retire comfortably. And when I see a potential danger, naturally I'm just going to express my concern. But I knew when I expressed it, I said, if she decides to do her own thing, I don't want to say anything else about it. I don't want to discuss it anymore. And I want to let her know, hey, you know, this is your decision, you know, so you have to accept, you know, the consequences if they come. Because there's a possibility you know, it may not come. You know, this thing might work. But I just want to say, similar to Corrina, I stated my concerns at the beginning, and when she made up in her mind she wanted to get married, that was it. I didn't press it any further, and she could tell you no different.
So then that means so then if she decided, let's just say she decided, because nobody, when I asked the question, people couldn't hear you. She decided to keep her and her significant other off of the social media, limit the exposure people saw. Would that have bothered you? Would that have been okay with you? With you concerned about her relationship?
Yeah, I mean, because she's been with quite a few people,
okay,
and she can tell you even with those people, I've never like stood in the way and said, oh, you know, I don't like her. I mean, and I've seen some things, you know. So, but I just feel like that's her business, that's her life. It's always been her life. Me and Corrina, we've never gotten involved in her dating life. We've never done it. It's just that with this one in particular, everything happened so fast, and she was getting involved
in the business.
You know, in the business.
Yeah.
So this is the only time we've ever said anything about even remotely close to anybody she's dating, because usually she does her own thing, and we don't even mention it. It's kind of like Godiva, you know. And you know what? To prove my point, I don't even know what her and Godiva was, because I never asked. It's like she just kind of like does her thing on the side, and I just act like I don't even see it. You know, it's like, man, as long as it's not affecting, you know, your home, you know, your money, and it's not in the way of your goals, I don't even have anything to say about it. So to answer your question, no, nobody would have cared. Just like we didn't care about, you know, the other past relationships. Nobody ever made a peep about it, but it was only when certain things were done that we kind of, you know, mentioned some things. But when she decided she wanted to do what she wanted to do, that was the end of it. And then when she started to get involved in the business, that's when we spoke up and started saying things. So I'm just glad we have an opportunity to make this clear, because like Corrina said, You know, there are people out there that think that we want to control her life. But man, when you pull our history, when you pull me and Corrina's history and how involved in her dating life we've been, there has been no involvement whatsoever. There never has been. We have a clean history of minding our business. We always have.
Let me ask you another question, to you specifically, Ashley. The thought process from people who are watching, one of the things that I noticed was that people felt as though you may have had an issue with your mother's sexuality, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing that Corrina is also in a same-sex relationship as well, people felt like you may have had an issue from a religious standpoint. To that, you say what?
No. I mean, we believe what we believe. I think everybody understands what Christians believe, but we're free moral agents, you know? God gives us the right to choose whatever we want to do, you know? And in the end, you know, however it ends for people is how it ends for them. But he gives them the right to choose, you know? So that's what I imitate. You know, I give people the right to choose, you know? So my mom has been lesbian since I was, 19? You know, that's been over 12 years now. You know, I've never pressured her about, you know, or judged her or have been critical of her. She can vouch for that. I've always given her the freedom to do whatever she wants to do, and she's done the same for me. You know, we've never interfered. So yeah, so even, you know, from a religious standpoint, she can never tell you that I beat her over the head with the Bible or that I've looked at, you know, any of past exes. Matter of fact, the last two I had really good relationships with. And we had our own relationship outside of my mom. They developed very organically. There was no pressure. My mom didn't put any pressure on me to get to know them, to go places with them. It was just, you know, it just so happens that whenever my mom wasn't around, we just got in the conversation and we developed our own friendship. So religion it has never played a part in the dynamics between me, my mom, and her significant other.
Good.
I don't judge anyone. You live your life how you want to live it. And I think it would have been the same way with this one. It's just that, you know, you got to give people time to warm up to you, warm up to, you know, the idea of you, you know, and especially with everything that was going on, it was just going to take some time. But with the last two, it also took time with them. It wasn't right away. Right when she was bringing them around, we were extremely cordial. But like I said, you know, after being around each other for some time, things developed how they developed. I think it would have been the same way with this one, but just the way things were done and the way things unfolded, it didn't happen like that.
Got it.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate it.
Because what happened from my viewpoint is that you know, it spiraled down really fast. I mean, really fast. So the thing is that, you know, when we got back and I was very protective of the business, very protective, because like I told you, you know, I worked my rear end off for like 2 years and we were getting close to, I mean, like we were reaching our goals, you know, and I was just like, this is just getting ready to explode. I mean, to me, I just felt like we had built the page back up and, you know, now, you know, we got the warehouse. I mean, like everything was coming together. You know, we had the kitchen, we had Jesse on salary, our videographer. We were making really high quality videos. I mean, we had worked from, you know, little videos that we were making with our phone to, remember?
Yeah.
To high.
No, I gave you Eugene shot for y'all.
Yeah, we were almost at that level. We were about 60% there. So for me to see someone come in, right, and just start ruining that was a big deal for me. And so I was fighting, you know, for the business. And Ashley was also fighting for the business. And you know what's funny? Yeah. Ashley was fighting for the business for her mom, all right? Because she was her mom's assistant. So she was actually fighting for the business for her mom. So for all you people out here that's saying, oh, Ashley turned on her mom, I separated Ashley from her mom, that's a lie. All right, because Ashley actually fought for the business for her mom. All right, and I actually fought for their relationship when their relationship started to, when they had that big argument on the live and everything. I was the one that said, hey, please come over. I talked to Cherie. I'm like, because Cherie's a life coach. You know, I was like, Cherie, can we sit down with Ashley and Carmen? I don't want all of this stuff to ruin their relationship. I'm like, the business is already starting to become, and I'm gonna tell y'all about that, but the business is already starting to become strained. You know, there's a strain here now. There's a strain in my relationship with Carmen. There's a strain in the relationship between Carmen and Ashley. You know, there's a strain with all of our customers. They're on live arguing with each other. You know what I mean? They're being blocked by the thousands and the thousands. You know why they're being blocked? Because there's someone on the live that is controversial. A lot of people don't like this person. It's bad for business. So now, instead of removing this person from the business, right? Instead of just removing the thing that's causing all the problems, you start blocking the customers instead. Now you're blocking all the followers. You're blocking our loyal customers that buy from us, that do everything for us. Now, instead of removing the thing, you're removing the customers. So I'm just like, this is insanity. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure out, what do I do about this? I got my friend over here, you know what I mean? And it's like, she's got this relationship that means everything to her. I want to respect that. I want to encourage that. I want to support that. But this is causing a problem for the business. Right? So now, what do I do? You know what I mean? What do I do?
So bring us into that, because now we need to move forward.
I'll tell you what I did. So for me, it's a very difficult situation. And then on top of that, now the one person that's there in her house, taking care of her, making juices, cleaning the house, cleaning the dishes, making the menus, doing the shopping, managing her bank account, helping her with getting her taxes straightened out. That's her whole support system, you know, is her daughter. All right. Now, all of a sudden, in the midst of all this chaos and all this destruction and everything starting to crumble down, you know, like beneath our feet, you know, the one person that's there, like basically supporting and making sure that, because I'm here in the business taking care of everything, and then Ashley was over there taking care of everything. So now I'm just like, well, at least, you know, Ashley's taking, so now that relationship's falling apart. You know what I'm saying? And then they get in a big argument on live, mind you. It's not even a private argument. It's an argument on the freaking live. So
Corrina, bring us into what you now have to face and do for the business.
Okay. So anyway, so that happened. So then after that, I feel for both of them. I feel for Carmen, although to be honest, I felt more for Ashley, but I felt for Carmen too. But I just felt like she was just willing to throw it all away, everything. And I was just like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
But wait, hold on. So not only when you say she's willing to throw it all away, you have I want to make sure people understand that you have tangible proof that she was willing to throw it all away.
Well, I do. But the thing is that
that's all I wanted to see. Go ahead.
Is that I'm talking about my feelings right now too. And so at that moment, I was just like, what do I do? You know what I mean? I felt very helpless because I was just like, you know, so for me, I was just kind of like, you know, I felt for both of them, you know, because here we got a mother and a daughter, and then you got a granddaughter, you know what I mean? And this is this is like, these are core, this is some of the most important relationships. And so when that happened, and I do want to have Ashley on too, because I don't want to talk about her relationship with her mother. She needs to talk about that. I'm just telling you about what happened as it relates to the business. And then you got to remember, we have a personal relationship. I've known Ashley since she was a little girl. You know what I mean? Carmen's known my kids since they were born. So I'm just saying, the thing is that when that happened, I felt really distraught, and I felt really upset for both of them. And so my first reaction when it happened, when Ashley came over to the warehouse, I was like, oh my God, I need to help them. Like, we need to fix this. I'm like, everything cannot just fall apart all at the same time. And so I was like, I tried, I sent, I have all the text messages. So let me just say this. Everything that I'm talking about here, you know, I got all the text messages and everything to prove it, but I'm not going to bring them out because I don't want to be disrespectful, and this isn't about like I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I do want to tell my truth and the truth of what happened, because I've been quiet for 6 months, right? Or longer than that. I've not really said much. So anyway, I'm just saying, so in the text message, I was like, hey, guys, they start arguing, and I'm just like, hey, can we come over? Can y'all come over? Can we sit down? Can we try to work this out? Because I'm actually feeling a little bit panicked, because I'm just like, what's going to happen now? You know what I mean? What, is Ashley going to be fired? Like, where's she going? I'm thinking about everybody. I'm thinking about Carmen. I'm thinking about Ashley, because I know she needs a job. And I know Carmen needs her, because who's going to fill her shoes? Who's going to do all that stuff for Carmen so Carmen can work? Like, who's going to clean the house and do all the stuff that Ashley did? Nobody.
Right.
So I knew nobody was going to do that. And so, Ashley wants to talk.
Hold on. I can bring it.
Let me just finish this
Go.
one thing.
Finish your thought, and then I'll let Ashley say what she needs to say.
Me, so for anybody out here to saying, oh, I did everything I could to get, I never said, oh, don't do this. I was always like, hey, can y'all sit down and talk? Hey, can we talk? Hey, can you come over here? Can we get together? Just tried everything to get them to talk. Now, Ashley's going to say something. I don't know what she wants to say, but then I want stuff about the business. And then,
okay, yeah, that's where we'll go. We'll go to the business. Go ahead, Ashley. You got the floor.
Hey, so I just wanted to say that me and Corrina, we were accused of being in cahoots together.
oh yeah,
And I would lovingly explain to my mom that me and Corrina, like, we really do care about you, and we feel like when we try to talk to you and express ourselves, we feel kind of like rejected, because she gets really kind of defensive and emotional and didn't really want to hear us out. So there were multiple attempts on our end to try to resolve it behind the scenes, and there was even a time where she did want to meet with us, and I said, Corrina, look, okay, I'm gonna pull up, and I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna lure her into my car, my van. I'm gonna just tell her, hey, just come outside. So we have to plan it. So it's like she got in, and then Corrina got in. When she pulled up with her car, got in the back. It's like we kind of had to kidnap her almost and get her to agree. We need to go somewhere and talk. We need to work this out. And this is the stuff that people don't see, because when you just see things on the internet, it does look like, well, dang, Carmen just over there by herself, and then they just Ashley and Corrina, they just over there together. So it looks a certain way. And this is one of the lessons I learned in life, that everything is not as it seems. And like, when you don't know people personally, and when you haven't heard like all sides of the story, it's best to just sit back and be quiet.
Right.
And if you're into the drama, you can sit back and enjoy the drama. Like there are people that I watch. I mean, like, just for example, the Latruths, for example. They got drama unfolding online. I don't go to their pages. I don't go to like Miss Latruth's page and say, ooh, girl, you need to do better. Or I don't go to Mr. Latruth's page and say, ooh, you ain't crap, and I can't believe you did that. Because I don't know them.
Right.
I don't know them. And things may appear a way online. He may appear to be one way, but I don't know him. So, but I had to learn that just through different life lessons. lessons, like going
There
through
is.
things, taking people's side, the facts coming out later.
Wait, Ashley, hold on 1 second. Yes, ma'am.
Since you got Ashley on there, ask her to talk about how many times did I try to get her and Carmen to sit down and ask her what happened in those situations, even before she left to go to Houston, and ask her about that, and also ask her, because I want to clear this up, ask her about Victoria not being on live. Like, people are like, why she get to be on live with Boss Lady but not with Carmen? Like, tell her to explain that part too.
All right, she's listening to what you're saying, so she's gonna reply in a second.
On live with her mother, not with me.
Yeah, she can hear it.
Okay. I heard the first part. The other part is still coming in because it's delayed. But the first part, I'll answer. So the number is 3 times. Because I went back through our old group text. To just, I was combing through it, and I saw where Corrina, like, because me and my mom, we're going back and forth in the text, we're having these disagreements, everything's falling apart, and Corrina's the one to step in and say, hey guys, like, can we just sit down and talk about this? And she already mentioned, like, hey, Cherie said y'all can come over, like, let's work this out. Like, Corrina was very diplomatic between our relationship. So, like I said, when you see people online saying, Corrina's like stealing her way, I can't believe that you would come between a mother and a daughter. That's simply not true.
Right.
Because she was
And I got the
one
messages.
who was trying to arrange for us to sit down so that we could work it out. And she's even tried to give me advice behind the scenes. But like I was saying before, that's the part that people don't see. So they assume they know things based on clips on the internet, but the other 90% of what actually happens behind the scenes. Now, I didn't hear the second part of her question.
Just about Victoria.
About Victoria, and why does Corrina can put Victoria on live, but Carmen can't?
Okay, so yeah, and that's a good question. I'm glad she remembered that. So with all the drama going on with, like, the hate groups, like, they would take pictures of my mom, her significant other, and they would put them in the hate groups and, like, say, like, mean stuff about them. I didn't want Victoria to be a part of that. So at the time where I made that, arrangement, like, there weren't any hate groups against Corrina at that time. But during that time, I'm like, man, like, I don't want her involved in this. So that, I'm glad she remembered, because I forgot all about that. But because I was getting that question online, like, it was okay for Victoria to be on her live before, but now all of a sudden it's not okay. Well, yeah, it was okay before because there was no hate before.
Right.
It was peaceful. There weren't any hate groups. There was no drama. So that's why it was okay. Now it's not okay because everything my mom does, it ends up in these groups, and I didn't want Victoria to be a part of that. Another thing is that when Victoria's on Corrina's lives, it's work. I'm at work. And Corrina, the way she conducts business, she goes live at the warehouse to make sales. So look, on Christmas Day, Martin Luther King's birthday, any day where she don't have school, okay, if I can bring my child to work, and I'm pretty sure everybody on this live feels the same way, if you can bring your child to work and avoid paying the babysitter, you're going to do it. So we're not going to banish her to a room and she can't be on the live. No, Corrina's going to film the warehouse as it is. We're working as a well-oiled machine, kids included, because they all work. And just like another employee that works there, her kids come to work with her, and they're on the live when Corrina goes live. Also, Corrina's son, when he's there, he's also on the live. It's the same thing for Victoria, So it's not a thing where, like, we go live at the warehouse, and then the next minute, like, Victoria's in a shade room somewhere.
Yeah.
Because then I would have an issue with that. So I hope I'm clearing that up for those of you who are watching and who have wondered, why is it okay for her not to be on Carmen's live, but it's okay for her to be on Boss Lady's live? I hope that I've made that crystal clear.
Yeah, no, you have. So Corrina, can we get to where we are now in terms of business? Because you've made a lot of choices, a lot of decisions to protect the business. Can we get to what some of those choices were and why you made them?
Yeah. So first, I need to there's one other aspect. When, like, remember when Ashley said we went over to Starbucks and we had a conversation? Okay, the reason why that happened was because there was a lot of upset and, you know, this and that, you know, like, well, I'm not going to go into it, but basically we were told that she was going to go live and talk about a whole lot of stuff, and we were trying to keep it all private. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to keep it private to protect, you know, the business and to, because I mean, the worst thing you can do is air out your dirty laundry, you know, and unfortunately, you know, that's been happening so much. And I've been trying, like, and so now we're here. We're having this conversation because of all of that stuff that happened. And so we're at this Starbucks, and this is a key point because people want to know. So this is a key point simply because when we're at the Starbucks and we're talking and we're trying to resolve this issue, the issue where, you know, Carmen is very upset and stressed out because she feels kind of caught in the middle now of, you know, her two closest people, which is her daughter and her best friend and her soon-to-be spouse, who aren't really we really haven't, I guess you could say aren't getting along, but I wouldn't even use that term. She wants it to be kind of like kumbaya, one big happy family, okay? And that's not what's happening, all right? Mm-hmm. So, and the reason that's not, one of the reasons that wasn't happening is because there was a group text between me, Carmen, and Ashley where we were talking about what we were basically saying, this is what we want for the business and here's why. And we don't really know this person. We don't, you know, we have, like, we were just saying things. And this person, the significant other she read the messages, all right? So she got upset. And they weren't for her though, right? But she read them. And so when we got to Starbucks, you know, it was kind of like, it had, you know, there was a lot of upset and everything. And so what we saw how stressed out, you know, Carmen was about the situation. Now, keep in mind, and Ashley forgot this, well, I don't know if she forgot, but there was a conversation where her and Carmen had sat down, you know, with her significant other, and they had a meeting, and the significant other didn't like some of the accountability questions or whatever that were being asked. So she decided to get up and walk out. Mm-hmm. Got up and walked out. And so they didn't get to finish. So that was it. And so when we got to Starbucks, you know, Ashley felt a certain kind of way about that. You know, she felt kind of, you know, that it wasn't very respectful. And there was never, you know, anything. She never came back. There was no apology, no nothing. And so when we were at the Starbucks, I just said, look, how about, why don't we, the four of us, let's just sit down, right? Because mm-hmm. Carmen was like, you know, this is stressing me out. I just want everyone to get along. I want to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Why can't I be happy? You know, and we were just kind of like, we want you to be happy, but just don't put the person in the business, mm-hmm. you know? And so it was kind of like, it was a disconnect. Because for her, she was like, I just want to be happy and have my relationship. And we were like, have it.
But just leave it not with the business.
And so I was just like, look. And she was like, well, her feelings are hurt, you know, because she read the text. And we're like, why did she get to read private text messages? You know what I mean? These were it's kind of like you're sitting here and you're talking about someone, you're telling your feelings. If you wanted that person to know that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, it wasn't anything mean that was said. It was just kind of we were just kind of like, you know, saying things that we say in our group chat. And so that's when I just said, look, let's four of us, let's just sit down. Let's, you know, hash this thing out. Let's get the issues resolved. Let's try to figure out how we can move forward. You know, I just want everyone to kind of get along and kind of come to an understanding, because I felt like we were communicating through Carmen, right? And I was just like, let's try to open up the lines of communication and work together. Now, I had already had some encounters with this person that I didn't feel were respectful towards me. For example, when we had a business event, you know, I tried, there were a couple things that happened, let's just say that. And I felt like, you know, I said hello to someone, they didn't say hello back, you know, just little things like that. I was like, look, I'm willing to just overlook all that stuff. Let's the four of us sit down. Let's try to work this thing out for the sake of Carmen. And I looked over at Ashley, and at first she was kind of like, she was kind of like, I don't want to, you know, and she was like, I don't want to because of some different things that happened. Because Ashley's a very strong-willed, you know, and I've always, like she said, I've always been kind of the peace, trying to make the peace, you know, and trying to keep it together. And so I was just like, can we just all do that? We'll do that. Let's do it. Right. So Carmen calls her significant other and she doesn't want to. And that was one of the things that I mentioned the other night. She didn't want to. She was like, no. And so I was just like, so Carmen, we're willing to put it all aside, you know. I'm saying, you know, so what does that tell you? Like, right? I'm saying that this is a person that just got here, okay? And we are trying to work it out. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And so then I was actually very surprised. Well, not very surprised, but I was surprised. And so then Carmen was like, well, let's give it some time or whatever. And so then I think the next day, I don't recall, I'd have to look at my text messages, but it was said to us, she'll meet with y'all after an apology is issued to her. And I was like, an apology for what? So then I just said, look, here's the thing. I'm trying to be diplomatic again. So I said, okay, tell you what, just let me know what I'm apologizing for, and I'll apologize. I'll apologize. Just what is it that I did? Just tell me what it is that I need to apologize for. Never got an answer. Never got an answer for, well, because I knew I did. I mean, what was I going to apologize for? I mean, what? And so, a text message that wasn't sent to her. It was a group chat. Okay. And so, and it wasn't anything, you know, rude or anything. And so that's when, you know, Carmen just, you know, she came back and said, never mind, it's not going to work. So that was the effort that was made to sit down and talk. And there was never a conversation ever had. And so was my mute? So there was never a conversation had. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? I think your phone you might be muted, Darius.
There we go.
All
Sorry.
right.
Hold on 1 second. Ashley wants to interject. Go ahead, Ashley.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to interject about that text thread that she saw that where I think according to my mom, her feelings got hurt. In that text thread, nothing negative was said about her, and I actually combed through that text thread just so I could make sure that was actually the case. The only thing that was said is what we've been saying on this live, like, hey, we would like it if she could remain separate from the business. And that's all we were saying. We were going back and forth on that. She didn't want her to be separated from it. She was kind of, you know, rebelling against us. And we were saying, well, she needs to, and here's why. Here are some of the things that people are saying. So we're sharing our experiences with her that, hey, we're getting these messages in our inbox that they don't like her. Hey, Mom, I had to delete a comment that they left on my page saying that they're no longer a supporter. So we were coming to her in the text thread, just basically saying, hey, here's the evidence that this person is not good for the business. Can you please keep them out? And she was saying no. So I guess my mom was saying that she did not like that text thread. But I want to make sure that I'm clear that there was nothing disrespectful or disparaging said in the text thread. It was just talks about business. And matter of fact, like throughout the whole process on social media, texting with my mom, talking to my mom, we have never said anything negative about her significant other. Never. We've always held my mom accountable by saying, hey, can you not let her do this? Can you not let her do that? Please don't let her do this. That's as far as the conversation went as regards to her significant other. So people need to understand that when, you know, you hear them get online saying things like, she didn't like the way y'all treated her, the way you treated her. And I'm thinking, how did we treat her? We've never said anything negative to her.
Well, what's giving her this impression?
I could from that,
because I guarantee you, if you ask them, okay, they mistreated you. What did they say? What did they do? Corrina just said it. She said, hey, can you ask her what I'm apologizing for?
One thing.
The reason why she couldn't come back with an answer on what we needed to apologize for is because it was nothing to apologize for. We never did anything. We never said anything about her. Even, and I knew things, I mean, just things that I've heard, I can't verify them as fact, but I had heard a lot of things about her, but I never brought that to the forefront. I never even let my mom know that I knew what was on her background, the site she was on. Like, I never even told my mom, and I knew it. I just kept it to myself because I figured, okay, if this is the person you want to be with, like, I know you are all in with this person. So if I say something, I know you're going to snap at me, you're going to cuss me out. So let me keep that to myself. The only thing we've ever said about her was, please keep her separate from the business. That's it. We've never mistreated her.
Okay, Corrina, we gotta get to
getting there.
The business.
Exactly. So the thing is like Ashley said, nothing was said, and there was never anything that, that we did that we really need to apologize for. But I was willing to do it if there was something. So now we're getting to the business. So basically, you got to understand that I've never seen anything like this before in my life. It happened very, very rapidly. Okay. So at first, it was just like so like I was saying earlier, it was kind of like the thing happened with Ashley, and then, with the business, it was like every time, this person would be in the lives, it would almost be like, it would be such a distraction from what the live was about, because it would just be constantly the whole focus. Now, keep in mind, Carmen and I, when we were building the page and we were over here cooking and everything, we had a policy where we really didn't block people. You know what I mean? Like, you really had to do something, like, we might block like 5 people a week. I mean, like, we just didn't block people, and we didn't want to block people because we knew those were our customers. And so anyway, we went from that to just thousands and thousands and thousands of people being blocked. And so the thing is that it was kind of like, for me, I would, during the live, and this is what Ashley and I were trying to convey to Carmen, but it wasn't being heard. We were just like, and in the cruise, you got to remember, we had agreed that, this person wasn't going to be in the lives and stuff. So we come back, they're in the lives, and it started slow, right? But then it was just like, so at first it was kind of like, just, a few people saying bad stuff. They were like, she's a gold digger. She doesn't really love her. Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Back and forth, arguing in the live, in the comments. And then anytime somebody said something, that she didn't like, block. You know what I'm saying? Just people were just getting blocked. I mean, I got pages of it. And so it's like, and, I know she tried to say she wasn't an admin on the page, but she was. All right. She was an admin on the page, not the whole time, but she was on there for a period of time. And so the thing is that it was kind of like, for me, I was sitting there watching, like, everything's like self-destruct. You know what I mean? It was like I was watching the business get destroyed. I was watching, Ashley and Carmen's like relationship fall apart. I was watching my relationship with Carmen start to fall apart. Like, cause we had a very good understanding. Like, we knew we resolved issues when we were in business. We had a disagreement. We could always come to some kind of agreement, some kind of compromise, give and take, and then from on a friendship level, we were able to talk about things if we need to talk about it. I could be honest with her. She could be honest with me. I was starting to see a shift. There was a shift of, like, she didn't really trust me. She didn't have the trust anymore. We couldn't, like, make compromises about the business. She would just be like, no, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And I don't want to give all the examples, but I could just see like a destruction of everything was just starting to like, you know, and I didn't know how to stop it because it was happening so quickly. And so one of my biggest issues was the blocking of the people, you know, the blocking, because don't you know, every morning, and our team was upset about it too. Everyone was upset because every morning, you know, when I would wake up, I'd have all these inboxes, you know, on the other page, and people just like, please, you know, I was blocked and I didn't say anything, and I don't know what it was just like a storm of negativity, and everybody had all their opinions about the relationship, and that's because the relationship was constantly on camera. It was constantly there, so that meant that everyone could talk about it. And then when they were talking about it, it was exhausting. I got tired of hearing about it. I got tired of them talking about it. I just wanted Carmen to be happy and go take her relationship off camera. So whatever we did on camera could be focused on the business. But it's like it shifted. There was a shift from the business to now the personal, and everyone was caught up in it. And then the employees had to deal with it. And then there's all the blocking. And then there's, you know, and for me, I was watching all the hard work and everything that was done. I was just watching it just like crumble, you know, and I couldn't do anything about it. So at one point when I felt like all these different things started to happen, and so then I just decided to go hire a business consultant. I was like, this is not something I can really handle anymore. You know, we're not able to really communicate properly the way that we need to. Agreements are being made, they're not being kept. This person is here, they're not trying to, and I was annoyed because I'm like, this person's not even trying to like understand, you know, what's happening here. They're not even trying to listen. They're not even trying to say, hey, what can I do to make things better? What can I, if it's causing so much of a problem for me to be like on the camera and on the lives, I can just step away. That's what I would do. If I was a new person in a family, I would say, hey, I don't want, like, let me encourage, you know, my spouse to mend the relationship with her daughter. Let me encourage my spouse to mend the relationship with her friend. Let me encourage my spouse to continue, you know, with the business, the success of the business, because it's going so well. That's not what I felt was happening. I felt like this person was actually doing the opposite. I felt like, I don't feel like they were, you know, like helping. I just felt like it was more of like a destruction type of thing. And now this is a feeling. I'm just saying, like, you know, and I'm just looking at the actions and the things that I see and the attitude with it. It was like an attitude of, you know, I'm here and I'm not going to cater to you. You're going to cater to me. And I'm not going to talk to you unless you apologize. Kiss the ring if you want to talk to me, you know, that sort of thing. And I was just like, you know, okay, I'll deal with that. You know, I'll do whatever it takes, but I'm not going to sit here and watch this business get destroyed. Like, if you want to destroy your life, you know, you're a grown person, but you ain't going to destroy my life, and you're not going to destroy my half of you're not going to destroy the business. I'm not going to allow it. And so, but I only have so much power, right? So then obviously I can use my power as a CEO to do certain things, but then I still got to have agreement of my business partner, because if I can't get agreement of my business partner, what happens in a business is two partners are now operating separately and they have equal shares. So that means now I can say, I don't think that's a good idea, because she's mad at me though, because now I haven't accepted the relationship the way she wants me to, right? Or whatever the reason is, she's mad at me. So now, and it wasn't that I didn't accept the relationship, it was that I didn't want it in the business, right? And so, and initially I was concerned for her, but then when she told me don't worry about it, I stopped worried about it. So, but the thing is so it's kind of like you got two partners now and you're trying to run a business, but you can't really get along, right? It's like one person is saying, I'm gonna do this, and the other person is saying, well, I'm gonna do this, and then the customers are caught in the middle. They're like, well, what is it? Is there a code, or are we getting free shipping, or aren't we getting free shipping? Is the code or isn't the code? You know, you know, it's kind of even like a normal business. Are you going to open at 8 or are you going to open at 10? One person's like,
so what do you do in response to this? How do you respond?
So what you do, so first of all, you know, as the CEO, and I'm the one that's really running the business, it's like, first what I try to do is I try to lay it out and show the other partner, you know, here are the reasonable, here's the way that we need to operate. This is how we've always operated. You've always let me, I've always made these decisions, you know, this and that. And I'm just, and so you try communication and you try to convince and you try to compromise and you try to be diplomatic and you try to give and take and you try to do all the things that you can possibly do to get your business partner to see. You show them how, you know, sales are affected. You show them what people are saying. You show them how thousands of people are upset because they can't get on the page anymore. You do all the things that you can do. And once you've done all that and the person is still saying, you know, they're still kind of saying they're not getting it. Because you got to understand, if this person is saying, all I did was fall in love, you know what I'm saying? That's their mindset. All I did was fall in love. This is all happening because of my relationship. They don't even understand what you're saying. It's like you speak in two separate languages.
Right.
Like one person is saying, no, it's not that. It's not that. It's okay. It's okay. Be in your relationship. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the business. And the other person is kind of like, well, I don't really, they're almost saying, I don't really care about the business no more. You know, I don't even care no more because all I really care about is this. So this is my priority. So whatever happens to the business, that's secondary to this. So if this relationship says, if I want to make this person happy and they want to be in the video, they're going to be in the video. And if the business suffers because of that, then I don't really care. You know.
So then what do you do to try to get the business back on track?
So then what you do is you say, well, let me hire, you know, I was like, we need to get a business consultant to come in because now your business partner who used to listen to you, who you used to be able to mentor, you know, and show things and explain things is no longer doing that because now they're mad at you because of all the stuff that's been happening, right? So you hire a business consultant and they come in and they basically sit down with the team, which was myself, my business partner, and her personal, and Ashley, which is the personal assistant. So we sit down and we talk about everything. We go over all the issues. I mean, we paid this guy $10,000. All right. It was a lot of hours and a lot of money. And he was a PhD in business. This is a professional business consultant, you know? And so he comes in, he looks at all the issues. He talks to all the people, to everyone involved. And he asks us what our goals are. And we meet, we had multiple meetings and we lay out a plan of exactly who's going to do what are our policies going to be, what are we not going to do, what are we going to do, how we're going to do it. One of the main things was spouse not in the lives, spouse not in the videos. No, very bad for the business, very bad. Don't do this. And see, and what I was really trying to convey to Carmen, which is really what the business consultant said, is that this person is bad for business. Now, some people are good for business. They come in and they're on the camera and everyone loves them. It's all just, and you get more customers and everyone, but then you got somebody who's bad for business because people have a negative, you know, you got to remember something. Not only was there a lot of negativity, but, you know, this person was cursing out. I'm not going to say cursing out. Yeah, actually there is a video of him cursing customers, being rude to customers, you know, there's not just blocking of the customers. There's also snapping at the customers, being rude to the followers, you know, getting defensive when they say something you don't like, getting mad, arguing with them, you know, telling them they're stupid. I don't know, just all kinds of stuff. It's like, you know, attacking, like when you're on social media, you have to be able to take criticism and take critiques. And if a customer says, oh, your hair looks ugly today, you can't be like, well, what about your, you know, this?
Right.
Can't be doing
well, you can't
right. It's like what you got to do is you just got to move on. You ignore, but you don't block them because guess what? Now they can't come back and buy from you tomorrow. You don't piss them off because guess what? Then they tell 10 of their friends that you're a jerk. You know what I mean? And so it's like, here's a person on the lives doing this, and she's not even in the business. I'm like, wait, it'd be different if an owner was doing that. That wouldn't be acceptable either, but at least it would be an owner. At least the money that's now being lost is coming out of your own pocket. You're hurting yourself.
Not somebody else.
Outsider here that's doing this. And I'm just like, this is unnecessary. Move this person away. You know, they're hurting our business. It's bad for business. So the business consultant, you know, that was explained. I mean, that was explained and it was agreed upon. And then going forward, that's what we had agreed that we were going to do, along with some other things. And so we, you know, we made that agreement, and it was something else. You know, we just laid out like duties and responsibilities, who was going to do what, and all that kind of stuff.
Got it. So now, what's happening with the business? Because you are still moving forward. You're still running the business. You still have plans to grow the business.
The agreements weren't kept. The agreements were not kept. And so that was a problem because it wasn't even a whole week and the agreements weren't kept. You know what I mean? And so, you know, she decided she just wasn't going to keep it. She wasn't going to do it. And so then we had another meeting, you know what I mean? And we had to pay him again. And then we came back and we're like, okay, why didn't you keep the agreements? Well, I don't like the agreement. You know, I want to change the agreement. So we went through all that. We made some adjustments. We made some changes. A new page was created. It was supposed to be that page was just supposed to be like the two of them. And then the other page. And so then we made a new agreement and we did all that. And then guess what? That agreement wasn't kept. And so
let me interject, or see if you want to interject this point. Do you want to make sure people understand that Carmen had wishes not to be a part of the business?
Yeah, so then what happened was the agreement wasn't kept, and there was a lot of arguing and negativity, and then Ashley was out of the business, and then, you know, I decided to let Ashley work over at the warehouse because she needed a job, and, you know, and I liked her and she's a good worker, and we wanted, you know, so it was a win-win, but then there was some issues with that, but then we worked it out. You know, there was a lot of hurt feelings between the two of them, you know, and I was trying to just be like the neutral party. I was trying to bring them together, but both of them are really strong, you know, people, and they can be really stubborn, and they were both really hurt. And so all of that was going on. And so it was just a lot of negative and arguing and bad text messages. Employees were like ready to just quit. I was trying to keep the peace. I was trying to.
Ashley wants to add to it.
Oh,
go ahead, dear.
To what she was saying about like me and my mom being strong-willed, I also want to put out there, like I said before, for people who have like opinions about me and my mom's, you know, relationship, they'll say things like, "Oh my God, you know, I can never do that to my mom. I can't believe you're doing this to your mom." But you have to realize that, you know, the relationship that you have personally with your mom is not the same relationship that I have with my mom. Everyone's walk with their mother looks different. So me and my mom's relationship, it's been up and down since I left high school. You know, we've had so many like unresolved issues over the years. So what happened with this whole situation, you know, it kind of comes off of those unresolved issues too, because when you don't like truly resolve your issues, then, you know, the next issue you have, you know, it's like always a cherry on top of a milkshake kind of thing, where it's hard to resolve things because you have so much bad blood. But for the person, for the mom lovers in the comments, you know, you might have not have had that relationship with your mom, you know? And so for me and my mom, around this time when I came, I started working for my mom like back in April. But before then, we had actually fallen out. We had a big fallout, you know, and I'm not going to say what it was about, but it wouldn't have been the first time. So I just, in defense relationship. It's complicated. But I will say that when this stuff started going down, I felt proud of myself, because usually the old Ashley would just kind of just walk away. Even Corrina, she's like, man, I'm proud of you, because Ashley, as soon as Carmen started, it's like you just disappear. I always just disappear. I may disappear for 6 months, 9 months, a year, but I'm out of there. But this time, like she said, like I was fighting for her. I'm like, no, you've come too far. Like this is like you're like at the top of your game right now. Where you are in this moment, this is the best you've ever been.
Agreed. I agree with you 150%. But go ahead.
We were and it's like I'm afraid there will never be another time like this. So I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna fight for you, because I want your life to end well. There are elderly people out here that are working like in warehouses, janitors, because they didn't make wise decisions in their life. And I said, well, hey, nothing against the janitors or the warehouse workers. I don't want that life for you. I want you to retire comfortably. I don't want you to have to work. So I fought for it. So anytime we would get into it, I would apologize, even if I felt like she was more wrong than I was, for the sake of peace. Like, I would apologize. And Corrina would even tell me, I'm proud of you. You have matured so much, because like I said, the old Ashley would have walked away. So I want to point that out for those of you who don't know. Like I said, the mom lovers, everybody's walk with their mom is different. Me and my mom, we've always had a bumpy relationship. It's never been 100% smooth. The emotional bonding between us, it's not, it hasn't been there in years. So you can't go by what you see on the camera.
Listen,
you see us go live in that kitchen,
I get it.
Appears as though we're close, right? Because they just went live and they were laughing and joking together. Ooh, y'all are so close. Y'all have such a close relationship. I will say we were working on our bond. I was working on my bond with my mom, because when you help somebody like better their life, when you get them up in the morning to exercise, when you're juicing for them, making sure they get in their hot lime water every morning, and you see that they're getting better, like there was a bond happening there. But when everything started to crumble, it's like, and then when I was fighting for it, and I was like laying my pride on the floor, Darius, and apologizing and saying, hey, can we work this out? After so many times, I'm just like, you know what? I don't think that we are going to have the type of relationship that is ever going to really stand. And I had to come to that conclusion that I think it's time for me to let it go. Now, it's not to say that, if she ever needed my help, I would turn my back on her. If she ever called me or needed me, I'm going to be there just off of the strength of that being my mom. But I've accepted the fact that we just probably won't have that, and that's okay. Everybody doesn't have that type of relationship with their mom. So just be careful, people in the comments who are judging how, people deal with their moms, because you don't know their history. You don't know, what that mother has put the daughter through, and you don't know what the daughter has put the mother through. You have no history. You have no facts. You cannot judge a relationship and what people choose to do. You have not walked in their shoes. You walked in your shoes and according to the relationship with your mom, but you haven't walked in my shoes and having that relationship with my mom. So I don't want to be repetitive. Like I said, Corrina, I am clearing her name.
Wait, hold on. Pause that thought for 1 second. Let me just interject to the person, Tasha Cornell Clark, who says, what do you mean the mom lovers? As though loving your mom is abnormal. The relationship with your mom is sad. And here's what you have to understand, sis, is that you don't know, what she's saying is you don't know the history. It's sad to you because you're looking at her situation through your lens. You cannot do that. You have to look at her situation through her lens. And guess what? Because you can't do that, you will never fully understand exactly what's going on. There are lots of people who have strained relationships with their parents. She's one, I am one, right? So you can't look at someone else's situation, come up with your own conclusion, and not fully immerse yourself in what she's got going on. You might think it's sad. And to be honest, you don't know how Ashley feels. It may have been sad at one point, but how many times do you hit your head up against a brick wall before you realize two things? One, it will continue to hurt. Two, the brick wall is not moving. At some point, you've got to start managing your expectations, become mature, and figure out how you're going to live your life. Just FYI.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
I just wanted to help you out on that point. Okay.
And I just want to conclude with it's not all hurt. Like I have my issues too. Like I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. And there's some things that I've said and done that I'm not proud of at all. So I don't want it to be this thing where it's like, oh, so basically what Ashley's saying is that she's just a terrible mom. No, we both had our issues. I had issues, she had issues, and it was hard for us to bond. And we tried quite a few times, but we didn't have good communication skills. We did not have a strong emotional bond. We were both immature, you know, and I'm kind of growing at the same time. So it was both of us. So I just, you know, maybe this is a learning lesson for someone, not all, but maybe one person that, like you said, you can't judge my walk with her. You don't know our story.
There you go. All right. I have less than 20% left on my AirPods, Corrina. So how do you want to conclude? Because I feel like you've been able to get a lot of stuff out that people did not know without necessarily going down this negative rabbit hole.
And you know, the thing is, Darius, you know, we're friends, so you and I, we can always do some follow up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I would love to.
We don't have to talk about it, you know, all night or anything. But I'll just say that for me, I think I was a little disappointed, you know, just in how quickly everything started to crumble. And I can't really just blame. I mean, let me just say this. People did what they were allowed to do. I'm just going to put it that way. You know, if, you know, like my spouse, if I had it's just like the owner of the business gets to determine whether their significant other is going to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, once we did the second meeting, so I'm sorry, my point is to say that I guess I was expecting, you know, the person, you know, the significant other to maybe, in my opinion, she didn't really seem to care that much. You know what I'm saying? And I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, just from like the action, what I observed and from what I was being told, you know, I just felt like she didn't really care. I didn't feel like she was making any effort to try to help mend any of these problems. It was like she just came in and stuff just started, you know, it was like I didn't feel like she really had any kind of compassion or empathy for any of the relationships that were being destroyed, for any of the stress that was being put on the business. Like, I just felt like that. And again, I could be wrong. It was just a feeling that I had. And it was kind of disappointing, because I was just like, man, it was hard for me to accept that this couldn't be fixed. You know what I'm saying? Because I tried everything, because I was just like, I didn't really start giving up until the business consultant told me to give up. And so I was always, and Ashley can attest to this, I was always like, let's find another way. What can we do? Let's have another meeting. Let's have another conversation. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's go do this. Let's do the, I mean, I did everything I could, because I felt like we had made a good team, and I felt like, you know, we could fix this and we could work this out. And in my wildest dreams, I would have never thought that this is where it would be. But it is. It's where it is. I've accepted it. It's fine. I'm going to deal with it. But so after the second time, you know, that we couldn't make agreement. And you know, I told Carmen this. I was like, you know, you've lost interest. Like, I asked her, have you lost interest? Do you still want to do this? Do you still want to cook? Do you still want to do any of this? Because, you know, one of the agreements that was made was like so many days, so many cooking shows a week, so many videos, so many this, so many that. None of those agreements were kept. You know,
all right, my AirPod, this one, it's dying. It's about to go.
I'm just going to conclude to say that once I realized that maybe she just didn't want to do it anymore, I just said, hey, do you want out? You know, do you want to just take, you know, I can just buy another, I can pay, you know, I can buy you out. You can still have ownership, but you don't have to do any work. It could be a partial buyout. You know, and I proposed that, and you know, and then later we made an agreement about it with the business consultant. We came up with it. You know, Carmen pretty much just said, you know, yes, let's do it, or whatever. I mean, it wasn't quite that simple,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but it was a process, and it was something that she wanted, you know, and I'm not the only person, you know, that you know, like, she decided that she did want out. And so, I mean, to me, it was kind of, I kind of felt it anyway, you know, just from, like, you know, what was going on. And I just didn't feel like the level of interest was there anymore. And so, you know, like I said, anyone that may not believe me or whatever, I mean, I'm sorry if you don't believe it, but that's what happened. And, you know, and hopefully, not only did, I mean, I think she may have said it, I don't know if she said it, but the business consultant, you know, drew up an agreement, not an agreement, but, you know, we made an agreement, and then, you know, she didn't keep it. Again, there were lots of agreements not kept. So he, you know, he was trying to talk it through with her and stuff, and it didn't. And then at that point, he was just like, you know, I don't know what else to tell you. You've tried everything. I've tried everything. Y'all have paid me all this money. He was like, I can't do anything else. He was like, I've never seen a situation like this in all the years I've been consulting. He was like, it was, you know, I don't know. I've done, you know, everything professionally that I can do. I can keep taking your money, but you have an unwilling person here that just doesn't want, you know, to do the things. And so he was like, he just said, you know, the next step for you is, you know, legal.
Which you did.
And everybody knows that, because,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all over the internet. Yes,
I didn't make it public.
No, I know. The people were fine, honey. We got detectives out here. They were fine.
I tried to do privately, but it was made public. And that's when all things got even worse I didn't think things could get any worse than they already were internally, you know, amongst ourselves. But now everyone on the outside knows what's going on too. Now it's being made public. It's being talked about, you know, lives are being done.
Wait, hold on. Someone just said, don't believe that Carmen didn't want the business anymore. That's how she survives. Carmen is the business.
Okay.
When you just said that Carmen told you she didn't want to be a part.
I just explained it.
Yeah, you just explained it. Yeah, exactly.
The whole purpose of this wasn't to convince people, because there's those people out there that just want to believe what they want to believe. And the thing is that I'm telling you, the purpose of this was for me to finally speak.
Yep.
And say, and clear my, like, I just needed to, I never really spoke. I let a lot of things ride, and there's still a lot of stuff I haven't said. And it's a lot of things that I could still say, but I think it's not, I don't even, just forget I said that. The purpose was just for me to kind of have a voice and say, you know, speak up, you know, and say some things that I really never said. And I needed to do that. And I've done that.
Yeah,
I'm, those people,
I'm glad you did. And let me say this, because my other one is going to go too. I just want to thank you for, 1, the courage, right? 2, the professionalism, and 3, the trust, right? Because number 1, you didn't have to do any of this. This takes guts to be able to come online. As somebody who's prone to scandal, I get it.
Oh, yes, it does.
Right, okay. As somebody who's been through it, I understand. Also trusting this space to be able to get it out in a safe way. You know, I really appreciate that. I think this is fantastic. And there was so people who are watching, there was some conversation about, you know, Q&A or a follow-up conversation. As long as Corrina feels it's necessary and she wants to use this space to be able to do that, her along with Ashley, I will be here, because we're not putting anybody down. We're not talking negatively about anyone. Somebody's going to say, Darius, you picking sides. I have never once picked a side and will not pick a side publicly. But I do think that it's important to allow her this opportunity to get this out amongst all the other stories that are floating around.
Yeah, and another thing too, for those of you that want to know about the label change and stuff, I want to address that and I want to go on and put that to bed, put that to rest right now. All right. Carmen and I we both agreed with the business consultant back in October, guys, that it was not a good idea to have that we were going to change the labels and remove the face and the name off the labels. Okay, that was decided back in October. I didn't do it on my own. I didn't just do it without. It was something that was agreed upon 2 to 3 months ago, and it's just, and it's the process is beginning. All right.
So that should clear it up. She did not remove Carmen's space off the thing because she hate Carmen. No, that's not the case. There was an agreement and a conversation made between Carmen and Corrina that this should be the path, and all Corrina is doing is moving forward with the business.
And I've been the label change. All of that stuff takes time, so it's been in process, for a couple of months.
So all you naysayers, shut up.
Yeah.
All right, Corrina, thank you for
All
this.
right.
Ashley, you've been amazing. So, and again, when you talk, as I know you and Corrina are going to chat, if y'all want to come back on at some point, you let me know. We'll make it happen.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Good night.
All right,
Okay.
Corrina,
Yeah.
I'm all yours. Thank you again. If you need me,
We're going to be doing some great things together, you and I. I want to thank you for the, just the advice and the help and the support and just being a good friend. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Love you too. I'm a phone call away if you need me. You know that.
And don't you work too hard. You got all those dining with Darius's.
I'm leaving in the morning to go. I'm going home. I'm going home now to pack up my stuff. I'm leaving in the morning to go to LA. LA, I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Go be great, man. Love you.
All right. All right. Love you too. I'll talk to you later.
All right.